Estate Playbook. This episode is number 101, and we are now going to change the format a little bit from what we've been doing in years past. I now have a co-host. My co-host is Alison Bresciani. Alison, how you doing
Hey,
today?
I'm good.
Awesome, awesome. And what we're going to do is kind of talk about a trending topic from what we're hearing from agents, buyers, consumers, things that we're constantly hearing in the marketplace, a certain theme, and kind of discuss that a little bit, give our opinion on that, kind of what we think and questions that we're getting a lot in the marketplace. Because obviously, if we're hearing a lot, we're thinking that there's a lot of other people out there and agents who are wanting that information. So what I'll go ahead and do is, Allison, you're probably fielding a lot more of these questions nowadays than I am. What's something that you're kind of, hearing a lot of and wanting my take, and then also your take on it as well?
Sure. Something that just came up the other day with one of our newer agents was what trumps what when it comes to MLS versus what's in your actual executed contract. So, this particular agent, there was some realtor only remarks about an AC that was going to be repaired. And I asked her point blank, do you have this in your contract? And she said, no, but it was in the MLS. So, what's your opinion?
My opinion is never assume anything. When you're going to the purchase agreement, I feel that that's going to always trump the MLS. Obviously, you're going based off information in the MLS or in your due diligence. Some of that information might not check out, and there's an obligation for the buyer to perform certain things to ensure that's right. There's a disclaimer for that in the MLS. But if you're wanting anything prior to going in that purchase agreement, everything's up for negotiation. So, and the seller, even though it's in the MLS, they could technically say, hey, I accepted this price based on me not having to now do this repair, right?
Right.
So even though it's stating it in the MLS, I would still always advise of putting it in the purchase agreement, because also if you kind of flip the script a little bit, if something's not stated in the MLS and you put it in the purchase agreement, then it always gets covered.
Right.
So it's kind of that same psychology.
Yeah, so we see a lot of that commonly. And I remember years ago, I actually ended up having to pay for a washer and
I've
dryer.
done that several times.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at some point, almost everybody in this career has paid for something. But I agree with you. I think that, especially in this case, that writing it into the contract would have been pivotal, just to make sure that that seller was going to repair that AC prior to closing. Now, fortunately, in this case, she was still in her inspection period, so I advised her to, write something up to that effect, depending on if they were going to move forward or not. But another interesting thing that I hear about, I actually train the new agents here to include the water heater, for example, in the personal property that conveys. And that was based off of a real estate attorney's recommendation because the water heater could easily be capped off and hauled away, even though we don't expect it to.
Similar to a water softener.
Exactly, exactly. So, my advice is always if you want it to happen, if you want the thing to stay with the house, put it in the contract.
Yeah, you can never be, worst case, you can never be too cautious. Make sure it's in the purchase agreement, whatever stated in the MLS, definitely always write in there. And do keep in mind if it's not stated in there, like for instance, in the MLS, it might not offer the washer and dryer, but part of the negotiation in your purchase agreement, the buyer might want the washer and dryer, you could throw that in. So obviously that's going to trump the exclusion in the MLS of the washer and dryer.
Right.
So
Yeah,
definitely put that in.
totally.
So I think that's it for today. And every week I think we'll have a new kind of topic that we'll talk on and give our opinion. So we'll kind of keep these short and sweet, and hopefully that everybody's kind of learning something new about not only the real estate market nationally, but we'll get into more specific topics here in Florida. And tune in for next week for the next episode of the Real Estate Playbook.
Bye.